What's going on, guys? My name's Matt Freeman. As you can tell, I'm talking better because the swelling has gone down dramatically. It is about 10 o'clock at night, and it was about 11 o'clock this morning when I got my teeth removed. Um, it sucks still. It hurts. I don't think you'll see it. Yeah, right there. It's all gone. And then that black right there is actually stitches. My stitches go past into the teeth that are already there because once they removed those teeth, the rest of the teeth were so disconnected and broken up inside they wanted to slide, actually physically slide out. So they had to sew them shut. Um, so I'm just going to explain the story real quick from beginning to end, just to explain some helpful stuff, how awesome my people there were, but obviously I was terrified. Really scared. I looked up online and found out that they have to inject you with the stuff to make you fall asleep. I, for some reason, now have a problem with needles when I never used to, and it put me in a really bad anxiety attack. So I went inside and set up my TV, my computer, my Xbox, everything in my room to be ready. So when I got back home, I could just sit down and play it and not have to worry about anything. And then I had to leave, so we just jumped in the car and left. My dad ran to his work, drop off some clothes, and then he took me up there. And then when I got there, I had to refill out all my paperwork, so my surgery was postponed for like 20 minutes. I ended up getting in there about 11. So we go through all the stuff, make sure we got all my updated history, medical history, stuff like that. And I told the woman that I don't like needles, and she said, well, hopefully when we go to do that, I can just do something, and then it will get your mind off of it. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, no offense, woman, she was hot. Like, she was fucking hot. But she wasn't hot enough that she was going to distract me that much for me to not feel that noticeable feeling of an IV going in my arm. And so I was sitting there and they were asking me questions, and he comes in and he wipes my arm off, and then he wraps the balloon thing around my arm like, he's about to put something in my arm. And then he kind of grabs some stuff and he's moving around, he's not doing anything, and I'm sitting here like this, and it's this arm that he puts it into. So I got them both down on my left-hand side, and she's over here on my right side, and he's on my left side, and he's like behind me doing something. She's in front of me. She's got a hose in her hand. And with the most straight and serious face ever, she goes, hey, Matt, I got this oxygen. I'm going to hook it up to your head here, and it will just pretty much, blow some air into your nose for the surgery, so that way, hopefully, you don't breathe from your mouth while we're working. And but you're actually currently leaning on the tube or laying on the tube. It was on the chair when you sat down. So if you think you could lean up for me for a second, turn this way so I can get this cord around this chair and put oxygen on your head. And obviously I was like, yeah, no problem. So I leaned forward and I turned to her. About the time she just got the piece of hose on my head, I felt right in my arm it went, and it was really easy. That was just the IV, obviously. So they got the IV in my arm. She's like, there you go. Didn't that help? Which it did. I'm really glad that she distracted me. It was extremely helpful. So now the IV's in my arm. I'm sitting there strapped. I've got wires coming off of both hands of my chest for monitoring me and stuff. And, I'm pretty much ready. And so it's time to start administering the drugs. So I asked him what was first, and he told me first they were giving me drugs that were gonna help with my anxiety. So when I woke up, I wasn't also extremely set off because I was shaking pretty bad and I wasn't talking because I was actually about to cry, surprisingly enough. And and so everything was just or a so they kind of understood I was pretty nerve wrecked at that point. So they inject this stuff, and all of a sudden, like 30 seconds later, I'm staring at the wall, and I'm like, bleh. And I look over at the dent, and they're all facing behind me. So I'm facing this way. She's still on my right side. She's looking behind me. I'm assuming they were looking at computers. There was the actual surgeon, and then there's another guy that was helping him out, both on my left side, facing behind me. And he's holding my thing, and he's got a needle in his hand. And like I said, he just put that one medicine in, so I thought it was the same needle. So, I'm sitting there, and then I looked over and I said, so is this it? Because I meant, like, was this it? It was like, it was this time for the injection for the sleeping meds. And he said, yeah. And then I woke up. That's how amazing that shit works. I don't even remember it going into my arm. It wasn't like oh, I feel tired. It was just, I was done. So, obviously, I wake up, my mouth's fucking swollen. I got gauze in there, blood's everywhere. They're cleaning up after me. They already got the IV on my arm. They're like, all right, man, time to get up. And, I kept, like, waking up and falling back to sleep and waking up, falling back to sleep. And then finally they were like, all right, come on, Matt, come on, come on. So they finally got me up and they took me into a room in which I sat down and I actually recorded a video. It was only 15 seconds long. I wasn't talking. I wasn't really that loopy, but it's funny enough. I recorded enough to get my phone up to my mouth and say it's done. But my mouth was so swollen and I was so technically fucked up still at that point in time that literally all you hear is, duh. So you can't even really tell you can see my face. I mean, like I was, pretty there. So I put the phone away because, ironically, as soon as I recorded that, I looked over and read a sign that said absolutely no video surveillance is to be recorded beyond the main door, and I was like, whoops, kind of broke rules. So I put the phone in my pocket, but then as soon as I put the phone in my pocket, the woman walked up and she was like, here's a crossword puzzle. Do this, and I was like. So I failed the crossword puzzle bad. I tried. And then she brought me a different one. So I did that one, and that one came out good, but it still kind of took me like a little while, like 10 minutes or so, because I kept like freezing, staring at it, and just being like. Because, my brain was like, you just had teeth removed, and now I'm being forced to do crossword puzzles. This makes no sense. And then the very last one was a connect a dot. And then bring connect dot, and she's like, I need you to do this for me. And finally, I gave her a funny look because I was so confused on why I was doing board or little games. And she said, obviously, it was because they can prove that, I'm good enough to leave whenever I can do a connect the dot, connect all the dots, and not have squibbly lines all over the place. So I did, and I was perfectly fine. They let me go. It was only about 15 minutes after my surgery, which they said was really impressive because most people are pretty loopy afterwards, apparently. And I was, like, perfectly fine. And so then, like, obviously, pain hurt, and then I came home. Well, actually, first time I went and got Vicodin from Vicodin mixed with something else. I'm not sure. It's not acetaminophen because I'm allergic to it, but it's something along the lines of drugstore in my hometown. We've got like 10 of them, but this one's like grocery store and a store. Man, I was walking up and down aisles. I was looking at everything. Everything just seemed so cool. My dad's like, maybe you should sit down, but really I was fine. So he took me home, and I changed out my gauze about 8 times because it just kept bleeding, bleeding, bleeding. I recorded the last video, and then from then till now, the pain's been moderate. It's like back and forth. I take the Vicodin, and then it goes away. And then once the Vicodin's just about to be over in 4 hours, then it starts to hurt again. And then I take another one, and it goes away. I got this weird gel stuff that's like in the syringe. It looks like a Jello shot, and you just start in the back, and you pull it forward as you push in, and it sprays this weird tasting gel all down my tooth, or my gums, and it's supposed to be for healing. Eating obviously has to be liquids only. Drinking, you're allowed to have milk and water. It's just fine because I could not imagine having pop with a open cut mouth and stuff. I would probably cry. And I don't know, Don't get me wrong, it's still not something I'm extremely excited about. And when this next whole set of shebang goes down that I have to get the majority of the rest taken out, it's going to suck a fuckload worse because 3 of them hurt now, let alone if we throw in the judgment of the possibility of taking all of my top row teeth out, and then the bottom right side as well. So we still got some work to do. This guy's got to heal still. Not a lot of smoked cigarettes, but yet if you ever drink a glass of milk or water or pretty much drink anything involving that moment, you're going